Hello and welcome everyone to another Arthritis Help session where you learn to move differently so you can feel better. I'm Dr. David Sofer, physical therapist, and today we're going to be working on loosening up the neck. I like this movement improvement session because it really gets to providing freedom in the neck without actually working too much in the neck. So if you have neck pain, this is a great session for you because it doesn't really require you to do too much movement at the neck. What we're actually going to wind up doing is turning the torso underneath the neck, which reverses what our normal daily habits are and trains us to move a little bit differently so we can get the same results, but doing it with a different strategy which reduces pain and improves mobility and freedom. So for this session, we're just going to be laying on your back for most of it. Maybe you need a couple pillows for comfort, but other than that, you're good to go. So let's get started. So we're going to start off just laying on your back, getting comfortable with a nice check-in here. Just settle into the floor. Ease your breath. And we're just going to take 30 seconds for ourselves. 30 seconds where we can just relax and focus on breath. Relax and feel our body into the surface. Relax and get a sense of how easily we contact the floor and how easily you can allow the floor, the surface, to support you. How much can you allow the tension in the muscles to kind of wash away and allow your body to just be heavy into the surface, allowing for support and relaxation. Feel how heavy your heels and your calves can be into the floor, how heavy your pelvis and midsection is. How elongated your spine can be, and finally, how easily your head can rest on the floor. If you feel as though you can't lay down, that your chin is tipped up, that you're looking overhead because you don't have flexibility in the neck, put a couple of pillows underneath your head so that your eyes can kind of look straight up to the ceiling and that you're not chinned up. If you can lay without a pillow, perfect. If you need one, make every accommodation that you need. Certainly, don't put yourself into any pain. All right, we're gonna lay here and we're just gonna roll the head from side to side a little bit and just get a sense of how easily or how difficult it is to do that. And so we're just gonna roll to one side and back to center and roll to the other and back to center. Not as far as you can, just feeling where is your first point of resistance. Where does the movement go from being completely free and easy to requiring even just the slightest bit of effort to move? And don't be ambitious, just diagnostic, just see where you are. Very good. Okay, so from here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the hands into palms facing each other, palms together position, elbows straight, so that the fingertips are pointing straight up towards the ceiling. So in this position, you're making a nice triangle, with one leg of the triangle being the left arm, one being the right arm, and the other, the base, being the chest. And so from here, we're going to start just with an easy reach toward the ceiling, and then back down. You're just lengthening or elongating the arms, and coming back down. We're not reaching down or up overhead, and you're not kind of doing a sit-up or crunch to lift your body to do that. You're just kind of splaying or fanning out your shoulder blades to open up and provide a little bit more contact with your mid-back into the floor. And when you do that, you might find that the space behind your neck actually closes down, gets a little bit closer to the floor, and then release. Don't push your head down, just fan out the shoulder blades, press through the part of the spine that's in between the shoulder blades just to elongate the fingers a little bit and come down, relax. Good. And anytime you're tired, just let your arms down, shake them out, take a rest. Don't forget rule number 1, always be kind to yourself, okay? Don't work into pain, don't work into strain. This is about finding freedom and ease in movement, not about finding big movements or being, ambitious. All right, so we're gonna come back into that same position. Now, instead of reaching up with both arms, what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep the fingertips glued together, so we're not gonna slide on one another, but we're just gonna lift just the right shoulder up in the air so that it tilts the hands towards the left and then back to center. And again, we're gonna see, could we lift that left shoulder and maybe even the shoulder blade off of the floor to tilt the hands to the left. We don't want to slide the hands on one another, and we're not using the hands to move the body. We're just lifting one shoulder blade to tilt. And what you're going to find is that as you lift that right shoulder blade and fan out that right shoulder blade, it compels you to roll into the left side of your upper back or towards that left shoulder blade. You want to find ease and relaxation in your breath. Find that you're not holding and you're not doing a sit-up, you're not tensing, or just kind of raising that right shoulder blade, fanning out the right shoulder blade to roll you to the left as easy as you can. Good. And then relax, shake out your arms. Okay, we're going to repeat that again. Now, as you do that, I want you to focus on your right eye. And with your right eye, you're going to look at your left thumb. And as you lift your right shoulder blade, you're just going to let the focus of your right eye be zeroed in on that left thumb. So it's the same movement, but you're really focusing on the vision of the right eye looking at the left thumb, the right shoulder blade lifting easily and gently, and feeling for your ability to unweight the right side of your upper spine and allow the left side of your upper spine to be your new foundation, to be a place that you can relax and lay through. If you find a little tension in that, back off a little bit. Just move into the place where you can get easily. Don't stress or strain. Don't try to move further. This is about doing less or doing easier, not about doing more or doing harder. Good. And keeping that right eye into that left thumb. Good. And relax and come down. Very nice. Okay, now we're going to bend the knees so they're about hip width apart. We're going to bring those hands again, palm to palm. We're going to raise that right shoulder just like we've been doing. And raise that right shoulder blade, lean into the left, right eye looking at the left thumb, and we're going to continue that movement. And now as you do that, I want you to feel that your right heel is going to put a little pressure into the floor, which is going to turn your pelvis, which is going to turn your torso, and make it even that much easier to find a little bit of roll into your left side. Okay, so today we're going step by step with progressions, just building this movement little by little. And you're going to feel that we're still driving through that right shoulder, so lifting the right shoulder up and using the right eye to look at the left thumb and pressing through that right heel to roll the body into the left upper torso, into the left, kind of the opposite of the left chest, into the back, into the surface, and come down. Good. And we'll just repeat slowly, feeling how easily can we allow ourselves to move through the torso and chest. Not lifting the body up with the leg, but just rolling. Using the foot only in service of the roll. Only to help unweight that right shoulder from the floor. So allow it to move a little bit further, but nothing more. Good. And feel that nice contact and ease that that whole left side of your body can have. You're almost massaging out those left ribs from the spine into the angle of the ribs by pushing through. Try not to let your knees sway side to side. This isn't a rock of the knees. It's just a press. The knee stays kind of straight up and down as you go. Good. And bring the arms down and relax. Good. Take a minute, check in with yourself again. And again, roll your head to the left and back to center and see, is there any ease with that roll? Are you able to look a little further to your left without trying, without forcing yourself? Where is the point where you get the first resistance where you need to move? And can you see any further over with less stress and less strain? Now we can look to the right and see if there have been any changes to the right. We're working on the left, but we might see if we get any changes to the right. Okay, we're going to come back into that same position now, knees bent about hip width apart, palms together. Okay, we're going to now do the same thing where we're going to lift the right shoulder, let the right eye look at the left thumb. We're lifting the right shoulder, we're doing a little press with the right heel, and we're actually going to let ourselves roll over a little bit and then come back. And so this time, we're keeping that right knee up and down, not letting it tilt into the midline, okay? Actually, you know what? You can straighten your left leg for this one. Apologize. That'll make things a little bit easier. And roll over to the left and then come down. You want to make sure that your head stays flat on the floor, that you're not lifting, okay? So we've got the right knee bent, left leg straight, palms together. We're raising that right shoulder. We're looking towards that right thumb, the left thumb. We're pushing with the right heel and rotating the body over through the left ribs, keeping that right knee up and not letting it tilt into the midline, and then rolling back. Beautiful. Let's try a few more of those. Find the right shoulder lift, look through the left thumb with the right eye, push through the right heel to roll over with the heel on the ribs, letting the head rest onto the floor, and then back. Good. Lift that right shoulder, roll. Head is soft and easy as far as you can comfortably, not letting that knee dip, rolling onto your left side, and come back. This is getting a little bit of extra work in the hip. That's just bonus work, some butt work, some hip flexor stretch. That's great. One more time. Raise the right shoulder. That's the driver. Push through the heel. Feel the ability to roll through the arc of the ribs. And this time, if that left hand can stay towards the floor, we're going to leave it there, and we're just going to slide the right hand over to the chest. Okay, so that left arm is out like a T. Now what you're going to do is you're going to look towards your right shoulder, whatever you can do, so the head's looking towards the right. You're going to take your right hand, you're going to place it on your temple, just holding your head, not forcing it, just keeping it there. We're going to do the same movement that we did pushing through the heel, and now we're just going to roll the body towards that left hand, but we're not going to let the head move. And by keeping the head in place, it requires us to move the torso around the head. So you're not going to move nearly as far as you did before. You're not going to get onto your left side. If you feel like your left hand is bothering you, you can bend it and bring it into your ribs. That's okay too. It's all about rolling, feeling that nice roll through your spine. To turn your chest, you're still rolling onto your left ribs and left shoulder blade, and then returning. And as you roll, you want to feel that you're not lifting or arching your back, you're not rotating from your belly button, but pushing through by rolling the pelvis back, pushing through the heel, and rolling into each rib one by one. And then as you return, think about drawing in from the chest to return from the chest, and then the ribs, and then the back, and then the pelvis. So we're getting this nice segmental, easy roll from the spine wherever you can go. And then return, making sure not to let your knee dip in to the midline. We'll do that one more time. Lift, Feel the pelvis turn. Feel yourself roll into the lower ribs. Feel the breastbone turn towards your left hand. Feel the weight build up on your left shoulder blade and then return from the chest and then the ribs and then the low back and then the pelvis. Good. On the next one, we're going to roll and slide our right hand back on top of the left so they're on top of each other. And then we're going to return by bringing them both up to the ceiling and then laying flat down. Beautiful. Excellent. Whew, that whole left side of your body should feel so connected into the floor right now. So let's lay and just check in with that. And feel that the left low back, the left ribs, the left shoulder blade, everything is kind of flat into the surface. And if we let the head turn to the left, that it can fall a little further, a little easier into looking to your left. We can try looking to the right as well. That may have freed up a little bit, but we haven't worked the right side yet. So if it hasn't, no big deal. Okay, now that left side's gotten a lot of attention. We're going to work this right side now. So we're going to start the same place we started before. We're going to put the palms together, fingertip to fingertip, and we're just going to reach up with the left shoulder blade coming off of the table, rolling you a little bit into the right, and then back down to center. And lift that left shoulder blade off. It's going to roll you a little bit into the right. And try to see, are you twisting your hips? Are you holding your breath? Is there anything that's creating a tension or an obstacle to easy rolling to the right? And this is only driven by lifting your left shoulder, fanning out your left shoulder blade, which is tilting your breastbone to the right and allowing the right side of your chest and right side of your back to roll in to be your base onto the floor. Now with your left eye, you're going to look at your right thumb and you're going to just look through that left eye into the right thumb as we lift the left shoulder and roll chest facing the right. Good. Really got to know our rights and lefts today. And we're slowly rocking and just exploring for where might there be tension? Where do I get to a point where I feel like, oh, I better hold. I have to hold my ribs or hold my breath, or I have to work a little harder to push. That's where we want to stop. We don't want to break through barriers. We don't want to hop over obstacles. We want to identify them and then eliminate them. So we want a clear road. It's not about how much we can do or how much we can overcome. It's about how easy the path is, how clear the road is to moving freely in that direction. So left eye looking at the right thumb, left shoulder lifting up, tilting the pelvis, tilting the chest over, feeling the right side weight the table, and then come back. Good. All right, now we're going to bend both knees, feet about hip width apart. You can bring your arms down and relax them if you want to. Feet about hip width apart, sink into the table, hands together, reaching up to the ceiling. And now we're going to do the same thing, lifting the left shoulder, left eye looking at the right thumb, and then we're going to give a little push with the left heel just to help us find all those little areas of the right ribs that we can roll into. Lifting the left shoulder and pressing through the left heel simultaneously to help roll the pelvis to the right, which helps roll the ribs to the right, which helps roll the chest to the right. So we're only pressing through the foot in a manner that serves our ability to roll. We're not pressing for the sake of pressing. We're not pressing for strength. We're not pressing to activate certain muscles, even though they will activate. The goal is just to find an easier roll. How can we press through the heel in a way that helps us to roll through those ribs a little bit easier? Again, finding ways to clear the path so it's easier to roll. Lift the left shoulder, left eye looks at the right thumb, left heel presses to bring you down, and then come back and relax and lay flat. And we'll just check in with yourself one more time and see, can you feel how that right side is a little bit more connected to the floor, a little bit lengthened. We're just going to let the head roll to the right a little bit and see, is there some ease in turning the head to the right? Good. We're going to move along to the next progression, but if you find that you're having sufficient challenge in one of the first 2 or 3 steps of this, just work with that. If you feel like you want to do more, but don't feel like you need to go through this whole iteration. You just find what works for you. I'm trying to make this comprehensive for all different skill levels. So now we're just going to bend the left leg. We're going to keep the right leg straight. We're going to take the hands. We're going to place them together up in front of us, creating that triangle again. And now we're going to lift the left shoulder. We're going to look at that right thumb. We're going to push through the left heel in a way that helps us to roll completely over to the side. And then return. We return from the upper spine to the mid spine to the low back and pelvis. Feeling for how easily we can make that roll and how much smooth contact we can have, making sure that we're not lifting the head or straining the head, that the head can rest heavy into the surface as we go. So we start by lifting the left shoulder, looking at that right thumb with the left eye, pressing through the left heel, rolling through the ribs, relaxing the head into the surface, making sure the knee is not dipping in, but opening up through the hip. And then as we return through the upper body, and then middle body, and then low body and pelvis. Good. And just take notice, is this a little easier on this side than the other, or harder? Does this feel like a clearer path, or does this feel like it's still got some figuring out to do? Either way is okay. We are always a little bit asymmetrical. And one side can always learn from the other side. Good, and we're returning back. Good, we're going to do one more. And on this one, we're going to leave that hand out on the side. So we're going to reach the left arm up. We're going to press with the left heel. We're going to roll. And we're going to leave that right arm down. And then we're just going to return by sliding the left hand on the chest and resting it. Good. We're going to look towards the left shoulder. Turn your head to the left. Take your hand, rest it on your head. So it's just kind of gently holding your head down, looking to the left. And we're going to repeat that same series. This time we're going to drive it with the heels. So we're going to roll the pelvis over and feel that you can roll through the ribs and roll into the right shoulder and shoulder blade, but the head is not going to move along with you. Obviously, since we can't move the head with, it's going to limit the ability to roll and turn, and it's going to create just a little bit more conflict, a little bit more obstacle to overcome. And we have to find an easy path even though we have this obstacle. If it's uncomfortable to keep this arm out, you are welcome to rest it onto your ribs and move through here. That works just as well. Make sure that the left elbow is out, not kind of up in the air, but resting down. So we're pushing through that left heel. Feel the pelvis kind of rolls back. You roll into the right low back, and then the right mid ribs, and then the right upper ribs and shoulder blade, and the breastbone starts to tilt a little bit to the right, even though we're holding the head to the left. And we'll return. And make sure that when we return back, we're returning from the top. Feel as though, imagine that there was a bowling ball sitting into the chest, rolling you down, and then rolling down the breastbone, then rolling into the abdomen, then rolling into the lower belly. Okay, so you want to find that nice, smooth, segmental roll. And return. Very nice. Okay, now we're going to come back to just laying flat. Nice and easy, and feel how connected you are into the surface again. Feel that right side should feel like it's kind of grounded a little bit more than it was before. We really practiced rolling through those right ribs and connecting them to the surface, allowing them to be a base for which we can move. And we let the head roll to the right and back, and just see how easily it can roll if there's any more freedom than there was when we started. Okay, and so if you enjoyed that, we're going to do one more iteration. This time we're going to have both knees bent, hip width apart, both arms up into the triangle just like we were, and we're just going to roll towards the right, the left, and then towards the right, back and forth. So instead of one side to center, we're going to go all the way around and see if we can find a continuous movement still driven by the shoulders. So if we start by lifting the right shoulder, it's going to roll you to the left, and then you're rolling onto the left shoulder blade, and then you're going to return to the spine and then lift that left shoulder to roll you to the right. And just continuously moving side to side, and you can feel that as you roll to the left, the right heel presses a little bit, and as you roll to the right, the left heel presses a little bit, moving the pelvis in the same direction as the chest and torso, and that you're getting a nice, easy, controlled, soft roll. And now we're going to stop in the center and relax, and we're going to try some counter movements. So we're going to try what happens if we have the knees, both knees fall a little bit to the left as the left shoulder lifts up and we roll to the right. And then we come back to center. And then we're going to let the knees fall to the right as we lift the right shoulder and move to the left. And we'll let the eyes follow the hands just like we did before. And now we're doing a counter rotational movement, which is going to provide some difficulty, so you're not going to move nearly as far, and feel how you move. I feel when my knees go right and my arms go left, I am quite limited. That really kind of mixes me up. When I go to the left, I'm a little bit freer, left with the knees, right with the arms. So find what works for you, and when you get to that point where it's difficult, don't push more. Try to just work within what's easy and free, and I promise you more will come. Practice ease rather than effort. Don't worry about being big, worry about being smooth. And if you can find smoothness, the size of the movement will automatically find its way there. Don't make big movements the goal. You make easy movements the goal. Now we've got the knees and the arms going opposite directions. Good. And we'll relax. Good. Very nice. We're just going to finish with a little knees to chest, and we're just going to rock those knees side to side. I like this one just to stretch out the back and just to roll through that spine. Just a little side to side roll. Good, just to loosen you up. Okay, we're going to let the legs straighten out. We're going to connect with the surface. We're going to do a final check-in. See how you feel. See how you connect to the ground. See how relaxed you are. See what your state of mind is like. Even though these are physical activities, I always feel like they just help me calm and relax, kind of focusing within myself, not worrying about the other things in my life. It just brings a little bit of serenity to my day. And feel that connection to the surface. Turn your head from side to side. Feel the ease with which your head can turn. Good. Nice and easily you can roll onto your side and sit up. And as you sit, or if you're standing, either way, you're just going to take a moment, don't get a head rush, and just feel for how big you feel through your chest, how tall you can feel through the top of your head, and how your head can sit on top of your pelvis, or if you're standing, that your head can sit on top of your feet, and that you can feel a little bit taller, a little bit freer, a little bit more balanced. Thank you for joining me today, and thank yourself for taking the time to do something good for yourself. It's not easy to do. You deserve it. I'll be back next week with a whole other video teaching you how to move differently so you can feel better. Take care, everyone.